evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 27th Township Committee meeting. We're just coming out of executive session, and we'll move forward with our public session for this evening. We've done the roll call and adequate notice, and Greg will just move right into the flag salute. So if I could ask everyone to join me in the salute for the flag, especially for Memorial Day weekend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Greg. Okay, line up there for us. And do I have a motion to approve the agenda as was sent out?
So moved.
Do I have a second? We're missing Mark. Is he waiting to be let in?
No, he isn't coming yet.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Stacy Ewald is not joining us this evening. She's on vacation.
Yeah, Mark here.
Oh, okay, good.
Mark, there's a motion on the floor to approve the agenda. We still need to vote on that?
So could I have a roll call vote?
No,
on
just
the-
all in favor.
All in favor for the agenda?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions? No? Seeing none, we'll move forward with our agenda for this evening. And our agenda for this evening includes a proclamation for National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And is Jane Mclaughlin,
Yes, I will bring her in as a panelist.
and is Crystal Leone there as well? I didn't know if she was going to be joining us.
I don't see anybody with that display name.
Okay. Could you bring Jamie in?
Yeah, she's in.
Jamie, could you turn on your camera and join us for reading of the proclamation? Hello.
Hi.
So nice to see you.
Good to see you.
I'd like to thank Jamie and Moms of Action Chapter for starting this with us about 4 years ago for this proclamation. I think we started in 2018.
Yeah.
And have continued on. So tonight I'll read the proclamation designating June 4th, 2021 as Gun Violence Awareness Day in Chatham Township. Whereas every day 100 Americans are killed by gun violence and countless others are wounded. Whereas Americans are 25 times more likely to be killed with guns than people in other high-income countries. Whereas protecting public safety in the community they serve is among a governing body's highest responsibilities. Whereas the support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from people who should not have them. Whereas June 2021 would have marked the 24th birthday of Hadiya Pendleton, a teenager who marched in President Obama's second inaugural parade and was tragically shot and killed just weeks later. Whereas to help honor Hadiya and the hundreds of other Americans whose lives are cut short, and the countless of others who are wounded by gun violence every day, June 4th, 2021 has been designated as the 7th National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadiya's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange. They chose this color because hunters wear orange to protect themselves and others. And orange is the color that has been embraced by the gun safety movement because it symbolizes the value of human life. Whereas by wearing orange and commemorating National Gun Violence Awareness Day on June 4th, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives and lost human potential of Americans stolen by gun violence. And whereas I renew the commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all that we can to keep firearms out of the wrong hands and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our children safe. Now therefore I, Mayor Tracy Ness, do hereby proclaim June 4th to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. I encourage all citizens to support their community's efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and value human lives. Jamie, I'd like to turn it over to you if you'd like to make a few comments.
Thank you, Mayor Nash, my friend Tracy. I appreciate your support and everyone's support as always. My name is Jamie Mclaughlin. I have been a resident of the Chathams for 22 years. I speak to you today as a volunteer with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sons in America. I am also a member of the Everytown Survivor Network because I am a gun violence survivor. My brother Chet was shot to death in 1992. There is not a day that goes by that I don't miss his loving presence in my life. Along with my fellow volunteers, Jamie O'Brien, Daisy Chin, Crystal Payne, and other advocates for gun safety, we gratefully accept the proclamation for Gun Violence Awareness Day for Chatham Township. On June 4th, we will wear orange to raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors, including Hadiya Pendleton. We invite all citizens of the Chathams to do the same. Meet us at the gazebo at 2 p.m. on June 4th and wear orange. In our country, more than 100 Americans are killed every day with guns. Firearms are the leading cause of death for American children and teens. Access to a gun triples the risk of death by suicide. The gun violence epidemic in our country is a uniquely American health and safety crisis. Our children deserve to be free from the devastation of gun violence, and we need to have the courage to act and make that happen for them and for all of us. Believe me when I say, if it could happen to my family, it could happen to anyone's family. Losing a loved one in such a violent way adds layers of pain, fear, trauma, and anguish that I don't want anyone else to experience. The period during COVID-19, this period, pandemic, saw increased gun sales, increased calls to suicide and domestic violence hotlines, and an increase in city gun violence. And now that our country is slowly returning to normal activities, the mass shootings have returned and are happening on an alarmingly regular basis. Gun violence is also a pandemic that needs to be addressed the same way as any threat to our health and safety, with action and focus on ways to keep Americans safe. Tragically, mass shootings continue to occur in every conceivable venue across our country. No location is safe or immune. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been 231 mass shootings as of May 26th, not including the 9 people killed by a gunman in San Jose, California yesterday. And across our country, gun deaths that do not make the news continue. Young children accidentally kill their siblings, friends, or parents due to unsecured guns. People complete suicides at a much higher rate because of guns, and the senseless gun violence will continue to happen until we act and continue to pass legislation to keep us safe. We do not have to live like this, and we don't have to die like this. With knowledge and awareness comes power to effect change. With this proclamation, we continue that process and we honor all who have lost their lives to gun violence in our country. I am proud and grateful to live in a community that recognizes this critical issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jamie. And I wish you all the best. I know that Chet is close in your heart, and we honor him as well as all of those who have lost their lives as a result of gun violence. So thank you for all of your efforts in our township.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you June 4th.
Yes, thank you.
Good night.
Good night, Tracy.
And now we're going to move on to reports. And Ashley, we'll start with you.
Okay, the Colony Pool opens this weekend. Currently, the club has over 500 registered memberships, representing about 1,400 individuals. Membership is 25% higher than the last full summer season in 2019. Revenue presently exceeds $180,000. In 2021, budgeting was for $140,000. These totals are already better than any season end result since the collapse of memberships in the 2013-2014 period. In previous years, membership growth tracked higher throughout June, and we expect continued increases. On opening day, members will find a new food concession, new swim lesson schedule, new afternoon tennis program, expansion of the swim team to include a new developmental program, and a new approach to events. For the first time ever, members can sign up online for swim lessons along with tennis and swim team. The Colony Pool Committee appreciates the support of the mayor and township committee and truly thanks the township staff, including pool manager Lauren Hauser, who committed to all these improvements. The committee recognizes the numerous efforts of Bob Hoffman to manage the opening pool preparation, Ashley O for her attention to online coordination, and the hard work of the DPW staff in everything from clean out to mechanical maintenance. We know it's a challenge and we thank you.
Terrific. It's wonderful news. I'm so happy to hear all of this. Do you have any other reports from your committees?
Nope, just we only met with the Colony Pool.
Okay, thank you. Mark?
Hello. A couple reports. First and foremost, the library. They had another very successful outdoor book sale recently, but is very happy to announce that the library and sort of remind people, because this has been the case.
This meeting is being recorded.
That the library is open for business, no appointment necessary anymore, and we encourage you to come on down. For the time being, they're still asking patrons to wear a mask, but you're certainly welcome to visit the library and use its services. And on June 1st, there's going to be another installment of the very popular Friends of the Library book sale, which will be actually in the library for a change, which is nice. It was pretty hot the last time they had one outside, but so looking forward to that. The Business Advisory Committee announced just prior to our last meeting that they're launching an initiative to have local businesses and local residents who own businesses and serve the community fill out a questionnaire and avail themselves of the opportunity to be included in a Chatham Township business directory. That process is underway, and we encourage anybody who's interested in that to do so. You can find the information on the website. And, school, as reported at the last meeting, opened at near full capacity, K through 12 without incident recently, and we're near the end of the school year already, but glad to see that's going well. A couple people tonight have already referred to the slow return to normal. Post-pandemic, obviously tomorrow is a big day for the state of New Jersey as far as the executive order that takes place at 6 a.m. And for fully vaccinated people, they can do what they would like to do, or not. And got a lot of committees. Yeah, Mr. Hoffman and Mrs. Fondaco and myself will be meeting with the police chief next week to discuss some potential improvements to the police building. And that's pretty much it, other than there have been thefts in cars reported in the last month, so make sure you lock your car.
The never-ending plea, take your fobs, please. Stacy is, again, not here this evening, so Celeste will move on to you for reports.
Okey-doke. First of all, the Green Village Fire Department is having a Memorial Day service on the Green at 8:30 on Monday, the 31st. Everyone is invited to attend. The Historical Society will have a virtual Zoom presentation by Patricia Wells on the history of the White House on Sunday, May 30th at 4 p.m. I guess she's going to talk about how it took 8 years to build. It was burned down. It nearly fell down, was almost painted black, and has grown in every direction. It is the most recognizable building in the United States. What?
Microphone?
Do I need a microphone?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that
way you can
right there,
see.
the pack over there.
This?
Yep. Make sure it's turned on.
You didn't hear everything I said?
That's for the video recording.
Oh. Is it on?
I heard you, Celeste.
Okay. All right, so anyway, if you're interested to get a link to the Zoom, you can go on their website and request one. Now, also, the Senior Center will host a Glorious Garden Tour on June 5th from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. There are 8 gardens featured of both shade and sun-loving gardens, formal and less formal, container gardening, water features, and more. Advanced registration is available for $50 per person online at the Chatham Senior Center or in person at the Senior Center at 58 Martinsville Road. The program maps will be available for pickup at the Red Brick Schoolhouse or at the Chatham Gazebo on the day of the tour. And you can also purchase tickets on that day for an additional $5. And then also the Senior Center is still looking for options for transportation. In the meantime, if rides are needed for appointments, the Go-Go Grandma rides are still available by calling 855-GO-GO-USA. And the Senior Center is still offering programs online, in person, and out of doors. And I think that's it.
Terrific. Thank you very much. So we're headed into the Memorial Day weekend, and although the weather doesn't really look like it's going to cooperate, it is a time for friends and family to gather. It's important to remember that Memorial Day is just not about picnics and heading to the shore. Rather, it's a remembrance of those who have lost their lives fighting for our democratic ideals both here and abroad. And as Celeste mentioned, the Green Village Fire Department will hold its remembrance ceremony on Memorial Day at 8:30 a.m., and all are invited to attend, and they do a really lovely job every year. As Ashley mentioned, Colony Pool opens this weekend, and we'll be welcoming both new and familiar faces. Thank you to our Colony Pool Committee, our staff, Lauren and her crew, and our DPW. And this year, Colony will also be holding the senior picnic, something that I hope can be an annual tradition for our students now that NOE is no longer in existence. So it's nice to see our schools using Colony Pool. With the new executive orders issued this past week, I'm happy to report that our next township meeting on June 10th will be fully in person, and residents are welcome to attend. Also, our boards and commissions can return in person. We ask that you remain considerate of others as we ease into not wearing our masks anymore, recognizing that some may not be comfortable doing so. But our residents have done a great job getting vaccinated, and I know that we're all looking forward for some normalcy. Although it may not be beach weather, it could be trail weather. Hillside Trail is officially open. I'd like to thank both John and Bob for pursuing a grant that allowed us to build this trail. I'd also like to thank JCP&L for providing the trees, and the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts for helping to plant and provide mulch for the trees. On the affordable housing front, I want to thank everyone who's reached out with positive comments on our new building at 522 Southern Boulevard. And for those who reached out about applications for the new building, we're about a year and a half away from building occupancy, but as soon as we're able to get what the application process will be, we'll provide that to everyone. We expect to have a site plan review begin at the planning board on June 21st, which we expect will be an in-person meeting, and we encourage residents to attend. The Senior Center is increasing its programming and welcoming back people with both indoor and outdoor programs. Masks and social distancing will not be required to those who are vaccinated beginning June 4th. Julie Reich, who is the director, said that it will allow them to bring back card games, pickleball, doubles ping pong, which previously had been only singles ping pong, and a host of other activities, and that people are very excited and are coming back and are engaging with the Senior Center. So that's a very positive thing to hear. The Diversity Committee is continuing to meet. There's a survey up on our Facebook page, and we hope to put together an event this summer. On tonight's agenda, we will also be approving new lighting for Nash Field, which will not only light the fields, but also the basketball court and the skating area. I want to thank the Chatham Athletic Foundation for their grant of $100,000 towards these costs, and to all of the baseball parents who have provided financial support throughout the years and all that you've done to keep our fields, our baseball fields, looking wonderful. And to Bob for sourcing multiple bids and taking the original bid that we had down by a substantial amount of money as well as getting these other areas lit to truly fulfill the mission of the Chatham Athletic Foundation, which was to focus on multiple sports. So we're looking forward to getting that done, Bob, and thank you for finding that those extra dollars and that extra capabilities for the lighting. I'm also pleased to announce that we have received a grant for clean communities in the amount of $22,400. This money hasn't been earmarked for anything just yet, but we might consider improvements at our recycling facility. So our grant program continues to yield fruit, and we're continuing to do terrific things with that money. And finally, we entered May with 24 active cases of COVID-19, and for the past 2 weeks, we've been holding steady at 20 cases. Our active cases continue to head in the right direction, so that's great news. If you're able to, please get vaccinated or take the precautions necessary to be safe. And that's all I have for this evening. So now we'll move to the hearing of citizens. Oh, I'm sorry. Now we're going to move to reports. Greg, do you have any report?
Just a reminder to residents that the primary election will be on June 8th, and voting will be returning to your normal polling places in person on machines. So it's not going to be the vote by mail election like last year. So if you voted at the Green Village Firehouse, go there or go wherever you would normally have voted. If anyone has any questions, feel free to give me a call during business hours.
Thank you, Greg. John, do you have any reports?
Mayor, I'll just mention that next week we're going to be paving several municipal roads in town. We have maintained an active schedule and on the website, and any updates on the schedule, any changes and issues, we just keep updating the website to keep everyone informed. On Tuesday and Wednesday, they're going to come in and they'll do the milling operation. The milling operation is usually not very disruptive to the streets or the roads. They usually we don't close the roads. Residents can get in and out of their driveway, and traffic can go through. It's very relatively we work around that. And then Thursday and Friday is when the actual paving will occur. And that's when we will physically close some of the roads for a limited period of time. It usually takes a few hours for the road to cool and so that we can reopen it again. And the roads are open by the end of the day. We don't have any roads that are closed overnight. So, again, just if looks like there may be some rain coming in tomorrow or early in the week, so that may postpone some of the paving. But we will put notices out to the residents, and then again update the website continuously with any updates to make sure everyone's informed of the schedule. The paving does exclude Noe Avenue. We're going to come back to pave that, hopefully during the summer, July, or hopefully not late as August. But we do have to go through a process. That is the road that we did receive money from the NJDOT, and we have a process to go through to get approval to move forward with those that before we can just schedule it. So that we're in that process. So. Hope everything goes smooth, and we should do well next week.
Thank you very much.
John, I have a question.
Sure.
Do you know when the sidewalks are going to be going in on Shunpike from Falmouth to Pine?
Oh, yes, the safe routes to schools. I'm just trying to think if I have anything positive to say, to be frank.
Well, John, we did receive an email this afternoon.
We're still in both those. The one side of Shunpike, we are advancing to final design. So that work has just recently started. And the side on the borough side, that is still in the preliminary phases. Where they're doing the concept plans, and we have not had the public hearing yet on that side. So, we're still months, I hate to say years, before we actually see a shovel in the ground. I did see some positive movement on Lafayette that They're trying to finalize that so it'll actually go out to bid on Lafayette, hopefully soon. But the progress is just extremely slow with these federal grants.
Thank you.
Albert, do you have any updates for us?
Very important, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And Bob?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Several updates. The road paving that John just spoke about, our engineer, as he said, it'll begin next week for the local portion, but I'd like to point out to the Township Committee and to our residents that this year is going to be a particularly robust year for paving in the township, because we will, through paving with our municipal funds as well as the county roads that are going to be paved. On the agenda tonight is a resolution to authorize us, the township, to enter into a contract to pave Noe Avenue. That's resolution 2021-158, as well as the road repaving that was done by New Jersey American Water. We're actually going to be paving 7.15 miles of road this year here in the township. And that equates to 13.75% of all of the roads in the township. So that's something that we really haven't seen before, and it's a confluence of good circumstances as well as looking at some planning. So we're hoping that our residents will appreciate the new pavement once it's laid down, and that we continue to work on our projects, looking at the roads, paving worst to first. So that's just something positive about the road paving that'll happen. And then please, after we pave, if you have a white vehicle, don't drive it on the newly paved asphalt. That'll be hard to get off your car. Committeewoman Felice talked about the Colony Pool and the positive events that are happening at Colony Pool and all of the good things that are happening. And I do appreciate the fact that she thanked our staff for the work that they've done, but our volunteers, Mark Lois, Committeewoman Felice, the other members of the Colony Pool Committee, they deserve the thanks of all of us as well. We function together as a team, and they're part of the team. They did a lot of planning in the front end. There's a lot of work that they volunteered to do. There's the mass mailing that went out recently, and just the strategic planning that happened in the beginning has helped make this year a success. So I wanted to make sure that
Call your mother. So call your mother on her phone. The one with, I think it's 06, what that was the number.
John, I think your phone is on. John?
All right. So just our volunteer committee deserves thanks, because people do not know the hundreds of hours that they've put into this process to get the pool ready, and quite frankly to be as successful as we are before we even open the gates. So a heartfelt thank you to the Colony Pool Committee. We've talked about the governor's executive orders and some of the changes that'll be coming down the pike. So just everybody, be smart and be safe and follow the guidelines, and we will all be healthy and happy. I wanted to thank the mayor for talking about Nash field lighting, and that's something that's basically been a project that started about 5 years ago, and there had been starts and stops, but the Chatham Athletic Foundation, with that grant, they have been invaluable in helping look at the lights that are over 30 years old. And I do want to thank you for the compliment about the making sure we leveraged our dollars. I'd like to also make the point that the proposal that the Township Committee will hopefully adopt tonight is something that not only gives more lights to our athletic fields over there, the baseball fields, as well as the ice skating and the basketball courts, but it's basically $153,000 less than the initial proposal that was received in late 2019 and then again in 2020. So this shows the value of competition and looking around at other options, and kudos to those that have helped in that process. So, and then this morning, we had a walkthrough of the new walking trail along Hillside Avenue, and it's a beautiful trail. I encourage people to go take a look. The county took a walk with the township engineer and myself. So this is a project that came in under budget, significantly under budget. I think we came in at, our budget was, John, I think it was 70, we came in at 70% of projected budget, and we came in on time. So that's something that really doesn't happen, but the township committee may recall I had spoken about the fact that we took a gamble and we said, let's do some clearing on the path. The engineer figured that out, and because we were able to show the contractors where we wanted the path to go, because we had done some pre-cutting that was approved, the bids came in, where they came in, and now we have a wonderful walking trail. And over the next several months, we're going to be continuing to make improvements with the help of the Boy Scouts, with others. Our DPW is going to be going in there to remove some trees that are dead, and it's just, each month it'll start to look nicer and nicer. And then I would just like to echo what you had said about Memorial Day. So please, on Monday, which is Memorial Day, take some time from what you're doing, and remember that Memorial Day is to remember those that made the ultimate sacrifice from the Revolutionary War through now, so that we could enjoy our freedoms and our quality of life. And they laid down their lives so that we could have this, and they deserve our thanks and our remembrance. And I will end with that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Now we're going to move on to the hearing of citizens. If there is If you're watching via cable TV or on Comcast Channel 29, Fios Channel 26, you can participate in the public comment sessions of this meeting by dialing any of the phone numbers which are listed on the agenda and which will be shown on your TV screen. You may dial *9 to raise your hand. If you're watching via Zoom, you may speak during any of the public comment sessions by following the Zoom instructions to raise your hand. When you raise your hand and are recognized, please say your name, spell your last name, and give your street. You do not have to give the street number. All public comments will be limited to 5 minutes. Rather than use any of your time answering questions, we'll wait until you finish before responding. We have 2 public comment sessions on the agenda tonight, and each member of the public will be limited to 1 comment of up to 5 minutes during each public comment period. Written comments submitted to the Township Clerk before 3 p.m. today will be read during the public comment session. Written comments are subject to the same guidelines. Duplicate written comments may be summarized rather than read in full, according to the guidelines issued by the New Jersey Division of Local Government Services. Greg, have we received any written correspondence?
Yes, we have.
Thank you. Would you go ahead and read that?
Yes, members of the Township Committee. This was submitted by Bailey Brower, 16 Driftway, Chatham Township. Ms. Tracy Ness, Mayor, and members of the Township Committee. Some time ago, if I recall, when Kurt Ritter was mayor, the committee unanimously voted against any retail or wholesale establishments from selling marijuana and prohibited growing or stocking same in the township, including private residences. Is this ordinance still in effect? If not, or if it has been compromised by the recent state law, what are your plans to reinstate the prohibition of sale or growing of this drug in the township? I would appreciate this letter being read at the next public meeting, and your individual vote or comments made a matter of record. Thank you, Bailey Nancy T. Brower, Driftway, Chatham, New Jersey. And after I got this email from Mr. Brower, I spoke with him, and I did let him know about the ordinance that was adopted in April, and I sent him a copy of it.
Okay, thank you. So we did adopt an ordinance in April prohibiting all 5 classes of whether they're retail marijuana establishments or grow facilities. So that did happen in April. So thank you for reaching back out to Mr. Brower and letting him know that that's already occurred. Do we have any other written correspondence?
No, that was the only one.
Thank you. Then we'll turn it over to the hearing of citizens. Do we have anyone who wants to speak?
Yes. First up is a phone number, last four digits are 6449.
6449, you have the floor.
Yes, that is me. I'm live. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Bill Karpalik. I live on Oak Drive in the borough. Before I moved to the borough 6 years ago, I spent 20 years living on Williams Road in the township. I'm here to talk tonight and thank you for your support and support the Nash Lighting Replacement Project. Before I do that, I want to thank Jamie for her initiative with the National Gun Violence Awareness. Great job, Jamie. You folks on the council have already heard the salient points related to the need to replace a 31-year-old lighting system at Nash. I am a trustee of the now dissolved Chatham Athletic Foundation, and our last grant was made in December of 2019 in the form of $100,000 to the township as, excuse me, I'm picking my daughter up at the airport, so excuse me for being discombobulated. In December of 2019, that was our last grant as the township began focusing or further focusing on their next capital project involving recreation, and the Athletic Foundation was very happy to have that be our last grant made to the township. I'm going to plug the Athletic Foundation. Over the last 14 years, we've donated $1.4 million in grants to the township, the borough, and the many youth athletic programs in town, as well as some other recreation capital projects. So I am thankful as a trustee of the Athletic Foundation that you are hearing and seeing supporting this lighting replacement project at Nash. I am also a trustee of the Baseball Club of Chatham, which oversees the youth and travel baseball programs in town. And for obvious reasons, the baseball and softball communities are very excited about this project taking place. Additionally, I personally and most of my constituents in the baseball club agree that the accessorizing of the skating area at Nash, as well as the basketball area and recreation area, which I understand will be lit by these new lights, is very exciting as a member of the Chatham community. Last but not least, I can't leave this call without thanking Bob Hoffman's endless energy and enthusiasm and focus on this initiative. Thank you very much, Bob, for making this possible. I wish everyone a very happy and safe Memorial Day. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, Bill. It has been a wonderful working with you over the years on with the Chatham Athletic Foundation. I'm very sorry that the Chatham Athletic Foundation has gone dormant and couldn't really find people to take over their mission, because it was wonderful. And we're very appreciative of the grant that we received and are very much looking forward to replacing those old lights. And as you said, very thankful that Bob was able to use one of my favorite terms, which is leverage, and get a better contract, less money, and more provisions out of it for these other areas. So the thanks is well placed, and thank you for making that comment.
Thank you, Tracy.
Good luck picking up your daughter. Hope you're not endlessly circling the airport like I always end up doing. Greg, do we have anyone else?
Yes, next up is Maureen Kelly.
Okay, Maureen.
Good evening. I'm Maureen Kelly on Mountain Avenue in the Township. I want to speak in favor. I see that there's a pesticide ordinance that is to be introduced, and I want to speak in favor of the committee going ahead to introduce that ordinance. This is the culmination of a lot of work on the part of the Environmental Commission. And it's being done the way that these things should work. We've had people research it, worked on that ordinance to get it just the way we believe it should go. It's already been the process in the township to not use pesticides on our fields, just like the school system can't do it. We know that pesticides are a terrible hazard to our children who play on the playing fields, but this would be across all of the municipal properties. And just at a time now when we've made the effort to partner with the Great Swamp Watershed Association, and we're planting native pollinator gardens all over the place. So pesticide reduction is another part of that same thing. So I hope that you will consider adopting this ordinance, and the first step would be to introduce it this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maureen. Greg, do we have anyone else?
Kara Fieser?
Hi, Kara Fieser, Falmouth Road, Chatham Township. I am going to echo a lot of what Maureen said. The pesticide ordinance is a culmination of the last 4 years since 2018 of having successful organic land care practices on our recreational areas. It also represents really the desire of our residents who spoke vocally for this way back in 2018 and have continued to do so over the years, really advocating for safe recreational areas for the children. It is also proved that sustainable land care practices can be very successful in maintaining lawns. And really the reason, the impetus for going this direction 4 years ago was because of the science that shows that pesticide exposure is harmful to people, especially to our most vulnerable, our children, who are involuntarily exposed daily to low levels of pesticides just through living our day, through air, water, lawns, and even low levels of constant exposure can have potentially harmful side effects. We know that it also pollutes our drinking water. Chatham Town, we are surrounded by our drinking source here in Chatham Township. Any pesticides where there's runoff that ends up in our water and ends up in our bodies. This ordinance itself, it really signifies the desire of Chatham Township to eliminate toxic pesticides on recreational areas, promote a healthy environment, and also protect the public. It also outlines potential acceptable pesticides when it is necessary, as well as allows for any type of emergency use at the discretion of Chatham Township. So, based upon that, there really is no downside to having chemical-free lawns, only the potential benefits for the health and safety of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara, and thank you for spearheading this way back in what seems like a lifetime ago, in 2018, and we certainly had the community support back then to do a trial run, which has then turned into our policy over the last 4 years, so thank you for your efforts on all of that. Anyone else, Greg?
Yes, Jessica Romeo? Jessica?
Jessica, are you there? Not there.
Okay, she's dropped out of the meeting. Okay, that was the last hand up.
Okay. Sorry about that, Jessica. You dropped off out of the meeting. So seeing no other hands being raised, we'll move forward. We'll close the hearing of citizens, and we'll move forward to the introduction of ordinances. The first ordinance that we have before us is Ordinance 2021-15, which is our pesticide ordinance. Greg, could you go ahead and read some information about that?
Yes, this is ordinance 2021-15, ordinance of the Township of Chatham, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, eliminating use of pesticides on all municipal recreational areas.
Thank you. And as both Maureen and Kara spoke to, this is a culmination. We've been doing this for 4 years now. We've been pesticide-free. And in making this an ordinance, it is going to help us with our Sustainable Jersey certification. We're going for a silver certification this year. Bob has reviewed it and has made some amendments to it to allow us to have emergency use where needed to combat poison ivy or other emergent growth or that may be of a significant issue for us. But it's been very successful for the past 4 years. Our school district doesn't use any pesticides and hasn't for years. And as well, the borough also moved to a pesticide-free, non-maintenance, non-pesticide maintenance for their facilities as well about 4 years ago at the same time when all of this was happening. Do I have someone who would like to introduce ordinance 2021-15? So moved. Do I have a second?
Now, if I have a question, can I still second?
Yeah, you can second and then we can have discussion.
Okay, so second.
Thank you. Do we have any committee discussion?
I have a question, just under the emergency public health information. I see it says like, to mitigate a pest that threatens public health. Can we like add where it includes like a termite damage or something like that?
Bob?
Committee woman, please, could you tell me where in the ordinance you are right now?
Oh, okay. So on the second page, under the definitions, it says emergency. Emergency means an urgent need to mitigate or eliminate a pest that threatens public health or safety. So my only concern is that if there was a situation of termites or something like that where it doesn't necessarily threaten public health, but it could destroy a building, which could then, you can argue, would, harm public health, but it might get a little sticky. So I was just wondering if there's a way we can maybe have some sort of leniency to maybe have some sort of carve out with maybe even giving like the mayor some discretion there for a situation like that, something to that extent, which we don't know what could happen, that's all.
Thank you.
Whatever you think.
Yeah, I think that was the intent in Bob putting that in there, that to your point, if we have all of a sudden an invasion of termites at one of our facilities, or they start eating the gazebo at the tennis court, or that we would be able to use something. So yes, that purpose is of putting that kind of not so specifically in there is to account for something that might happen that would damage a facility or cause some sort of harm, costly harm, something as serious as that, or something as an annoyance, a safety hazard, as annoying as poison ivy and poison oak could be.
Exactly. Okay. So, I mean, that's my only real question is like, do we need to specify? I guess it's more of an outer question. Would you argue that emergency under the definitions would also include substantial damage to like a building with termites or something to that?
Yes, I agree with you that would fall within an emergency, and certainly the township's power to maintain its own property in a proper way. You use the word, there's a word in there that I don't recognize, poly something? What was that, please?
What did I say?
You read a word.
To mitigate or eliminate a pest that threatens public health or safety?
Public health, okay. When I heard it, those two words were, yes, that covers, because as you said, public health includes the health, safety, and welfare of the residents, and
But it doesn't include the, like, infrastructure?
Yeah, I think that if you have bad infrastructure, you threaten the health, safety, and welfare of the residents.
All right, that was my only clarification.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, not to belabor this particular issue too much, but I'm just I'm looking through this, and you have in the definition section, you have the definition of the word emergency, but I don't see the word emergency actually used in the section further down at the bottom of the page. It says use of pesticides. It says the township shall only use pesticides on the materials list.
On the first page, Mark, if you go on toward the bottom, it says recognizing that if an emergency public health situation warrants.
Okay, but I'm just noting that it seems like they also made clear in that section that they can be used at the township's discretion in certain ways. I had another question, which is, this is entitled Pesticide Ordinance, and it talks a lot about pesticides, but then it also uses the example of poison ivy, which there's a difference between a pesticide and an herbicide. Like, is poison ivy a quote-unquote pest, or does this cover both? Like, it's just the term pesticide seems very specific, as opposed to fertilizer or weed killer, something like that. And so it's unclear to me what the scope is.
Using the term pesticide was envisioned to cover poison ivy, which was my particular concern, poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, because those are things that happen, that occur around Colony Pool and around some of our other municipal recreation facilities. So we can't take chances with that. We need to be able to kill that. So that's, whether it's pesticide or herbicide, but whatever that category is, whatever that type of organism is or plant, we need to be able to get rid of it, and we need to be able to get rid of it so that people don't become ill from it. So the term pesticide is used, but...
I think my real point is the intent of this ordinance to specifically restrain the use of pesticides, or is it the use of anything that has to do with lawn maintenance?
Any chemicals, you mean?
Yeah, chemicals, fertilizer, weed killer, everything.
The intent is, the intent is to try natural means first, and if they don't work, then you have the option of using something that's stronger so that we can protect the health, welfare, and safety of our residents. And then, as Committeewoman Felice pointed out, you know, if there's termites that are attacking, or there's some kind of a mite that all of a sudden is eating the grout in concrete or some other kind of mortar, you have to get rid of it, because we need to make sure our buildings are structurally sound.
Okay, are there any further comments before this is just moving into the introduction of the ordinance, and we'll have the hearing and further discussion.
And to Mr. Hamilton's point, do I need to make any adjustments to the title of the ordinance before we...
Albert or Bob, do we need to make any adjustments to the title?
Yeah, if you want, I can include herbicides, or I can change pesticides to...
Say pesticides and herbicides.
Well, there is no definition of herbicide in the ordinance.
How about if we say chemical-free field maintenance?
So eliminating the use of non-organic chemicals?
Leave it as pesticides.
Just leave it as pesticide?
Yeah, just leave it as
Okay.
pesticides.
Oh, yeah, I just
Later
wanted to...
on, you have a resolution regarding the maintenance of the fields that I think complements the ordinance.
Terrific, you're right.
Yep.
Thank you. So do I have,
We have the motion, yeah.
roll call vote on the introduction of ordinance 2021-15?
Mrs. Felice?
Yeah.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yeah.
Mrs. Wendako? And Mayor Ness?
Yes.
The motion passes. The public hearing will be scheduled for June 10th.
Thank you very much. And we also have the introduction of ordinance 2021-16, amending our stormwater control ordinance. Greg, do you have some more information on that for the public?
Yes, the title is, let's see, Ordinance 2021-16, Ordinance of the Township of Chatham, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, amending Stormwater Control Ordinance. And we will defer to Mr. Rushke to elaborate on the purposes of this ordinance.
Yeah, these are very minor changes that we're making to the ordinance. They're they're not substantive at all. There were some feedback that we received from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, and they just wanted us to make some minor amendments to the ordinance that we passed in March. So these are not substantial changes at all.
All right, thank you very much, John. Do I have a motion to move ordinance 2021-16, making amendments to our stormwater control ordinance forward?
So moved.
Thank you, Mark. And a second from Celeste. Thank you very much. Is there any question or comment on this ordinance?
I would just like to note that because this does fall under Chapter 30, it will have to go to the Planning Board for Master Plan Consistency Review.
Thank you. Okay, hearing none, then we'll go ahead and have a roll call vote for the introduction of the ordinance.
Mrs. Felice?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mrs. Fundaco?
Yes.
And Mayor Ness?
Yes.
Motion passes, and so that the Planning Board can have their review, the public hearing will be scheduled for June 24th,
Thank you very much.
in the hopes that that will be taken up at the June 21st meeting.
Ah,
The
okay.
planning board, yes.
Terrific. And now before us, we have the consent agenda. Consent agenda are routine items that may be passed by a single roll call vote. Any committee member may call for a separate discussion or vote on any item. Do I have someone who would like to move forward the consent agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Greg, can you read the hit list, please?
Resolution 2021-154, receipt of reports. 2021-155, approving meeting minutes. 2021-156, approving executive session minutes. 2021-157, authorizing contract for Nash Lighting. 2021-158, recommendation of paving award for Noe Avenue resurfacing. 2021-159, refunding overpayment of taxes. 2021-160, awarding snow plowing services contract. 2021-161, authorizing clean out of 490 River Road. 2021-162, green grounds and maintenance policy. And 2021-163, authorizing purchase of sand filters for algae control.
Thank you very much, Greg. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Is there any discussion?
Is there any discussion on any of these items? Seeing none, could I have a roll call vote?
Mrs. Felice?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mrs. Fundaco?
Yes.
And Mayor Ness?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. We have no items for discussion for tonight, so we'll move on to the second session of the hearing of the citizens, and the same rules apply. I will not read them again. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak?
Yes. Mrs. Romeo?
Oh, I'm sorry, you know what? I was just horrified that I got cut off before like that. Sorry, that was my fault. My phone dropped. I just wanted to call in support of the pesticide ordinance. You know, we've been doing this for a few years in the township, and actually, years ago, Colony Pool was pesticide-free, and we had those ladybug signs to signify that. And it was so important there, especially because all these small children are running around barefoot in the lawn. So eliminating those toxic chemicals is so important. And also that pool does drain eventually into the Great Swamp. So the whole premise behind this is protecting human health, protecting our natural resources, you know, our water, drinking water, and also the wildlife that lives around here, as well as our pets, because you don't want dogs roaming around on pesticide-treated grass. It's a really increases their chances for cancers and things like that. And also, we've set the bar high for other municipalities, and I think that's really important to note that we're setting the bar for other New Jersey municipalities to copy us. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else?
Yes, next up is Kara Fieser again.
I just thought I'd offer some clarification with the term pesticide, because it is confusing. You would think pesticide strictly means like a pest and insects, but it actually is an umbrella term for herbicides, which are weed killers. So for herbicides, fungicides, insecticides, rodenticides, whatever side. So pesticide is used by definition as an all-encompassing umbrella term, and which does include herbicides as part of that category. So just wanted to provide that as help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Greg, do we have any else?
We do not.
All right, well, this is a record, a township record. I think it is 8:31. So we're going to go ahead and close the hearing of the citizens. And do I have a motion to adjourn our meeting so we can wish everyone a wonderful Memorial Day weekend? So moved. Do I have a second? Thank you for the second. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Thanks to everyone. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Stay safe and be kind. Take care, everyone.
Have a good weekend. Thank you.